Tonight, we're in London, just hours before people here make a crucial choice.
Let's get Brexit done.
Britons head to the polls divided and undecided.
Jeremy Corbyn or Boris Johnson, who would you pick?
So much riding on the election people here didn't ask for and don't want.
Also tonight, a tragic discovery in Montreal. A family found dead, including 2 young children, why the father was ordered to stay away.
Deprived of our families for 56 years.
2 Newfoundland men switched at birth, a CBC News exclusive.
It's really nice to just take a little bit of a break.
And that midday nap is good for your health, but there's a catch. This is The National.
A look at London tonight on the eve of a defining election. This is Regent Street, a busy and popular section of a city that, like the rest of the country, will head to the polls tomorrow to choose between 2 of the least popular leaders in decades. But there's much more on the line than who forms the next government. The fate of Brexit effectively decided at the ballot box. And that's why The National is here in the UK tonight. Now, Conservative incumbent Boris Johnson is expected to win the most seats, but to deliver Brexit, Johnson must secure a majority. So, on the last day before the vote, the campaigning continued.
What can you get done by Christmas? Brexit.
If Johnson didn't exactly land that joke, he at least had a better time at the Welsh cracker factory than he did at the Yorkshire dairy facility, where he was accused of dodging the press.
You're live on Good Morning. Could you talk to Piers and Susanna for me?
I'll be with you in a second.
Yeah, I have an earpiece here.
Vote for Andy Rosenau tomorrow's general election.
And so it's up to the British people now to ring the winning bell one way or another. The last time Britons went to the polls in December was almost 100 years ago. The big theme then was rebuilding after the chaos of war in Europe. Now, it's all about finalizing a long and messy divorce from Europe. Our Margaret Evans gauges the mood the night before the plunge.
London, all dressed up, ready for Christmas and an election. And with less than 24 hours before the polls open, one that still has some people scratching their heads. Is it an election or another referendum on Brexit?
So it doesn't feel like a real election. So it's really hard for us to make the right decision.
Jeremy Corbyn or Boris Johnson, who would you pick?
Opinion polls continue to give Boris Johnson the edge,
Get Brexit done.
hammering home his Get Brexit Done message to the very end, and dangling his so-called ready-made deal with the EU like a sweet to pro-Brexit voters, or those who simply believe it's time for the country to move on.
To push ahead.
Sir Nicholas Soames is one of those. The grandson of Winston Churchill and former Conservative MP was ejected from the Conservative Party by Johnson in September for voting against the government. Today, he's hoping Johnson will win a majority, even though he thinks leaving the EU is a mistake.
You know, it's not what I want to happen, but it's what must happen, in my view, and the democratically wished expression of the people must be honoured.
But for others, it would be a disaster to leave. Pro-EU campaigners are pushing hard to convince people to trade party loyalty for tactical voting.
You could sneak ahead there. So
It's going to be tight.
The Remain vote, they say, is split between 4 parties.
And that's what we're asking people to do. Hold your nose, back the least worst party that's got a chance of winning, in the hope of defeating the party that you really don't like.
Whatever way the vote goes, it's not likely to be the end of the debate over Brexit here. And a little of that holiday spirit might come in handy in the days ahead.
So, Margaret, if the polls stay on track and Johnson really is headed for this majority, is Brexit really as oven-ready as he likes to say it is?
Well, he does have a deal that he negotiated with the European Union, and he says that if he gets the parliament he wants, he's going to push it through by the end of January. On top of that, he's saying he can get a Canada-style trade agreement with the EU done by the end of the year. But you have to remember, that took Canada 7 years to negotiate, so it's a pretty tall order. And we shouldn't get too far ahead of ourselves. because Johnson's predecessor, Theresa May, actually went into the last election in 2017 with a pretty good lead, and she came back with a minority government. So we'll know around this time tomorrow, I guess.
All right, we have a date.
See you then.
Thanks, Margaret. And stay with us tonight for more on the British election, including a look at how old foes in Northern Ireland are banding together just to bring down Boris Johnson. That's in about 30 minutes, but for now, let's head back to Canada and Rosa.
A Montreal neighborhood is shaken tonight after a mother and her 2 little boys were found dead inside their home. The deaths are being treated as suspicious, and police aren't ruling out the possibility of a triple homicide. As Alison Northcott explains, there may be a link to another death yesterday.
Police made the horrible discovery as they tried to deliver news of another death. The father of the children who lived here had died by suicide. When no one answered the door, officers went inside.
They were worried because there was literally no movement in the house. So they found the door unlocked. They entered inside the house, and then they found the body of those 3 persons, the woman 42 and the 2 young boys 4 and 2 years old.
Police say the father, Nabil Issad, went to the hospital last night and took his own life. A hospital spokesperson says he didn't work there and wasn't a patient.
C'est terrible, c'est terrible.
Some neighbors, shaken, say they'd seen police at the home in the past.
There
were domestic disputes, says Abdelaziz Abdallah. We saw police here 2 or 3 times. According to court documents, Issad was charged with assault against the mother of the children last year. He was acquitted last week and signed a peace bond ordering him not to come into contact with her for a year.
It could be me. It could be my children. It could be anybody.
Andrea Pessoa has experienced domestic violence and is part of a group to help others. She says the legal system needs to be better at recognizing risks to protect women, and she says education is crucial.
Everybody, in fact, should know about healthy relationships and recognize the signs of unhealthy relationships. I think if we start from the root, we can change slowly the future. If you're protecting the mother, you're protecting the children.
Les enfants et la mère aussi. This neighbor says the mother and her children seemed happy. Now she's moved to tears. Police say they hope to have more answers after autopsies are performed tomorrow. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
As Alison explained, the father in this case had signed a peace bond meant to prevent him from having any contact with the mother of his children. Peace bonds are used when it seems likely someone will commit a criminal offense, but there are no reasonable grounds to believe they've already done so. Conditions of a peace bond can include not contacting a certain person, including a child, not using drugs and alcohol, and not owning weapons. Breaching one of those conditions can result in a prison sentence of up to 4 years. We know more tonight about yesterday's gun battle between police and 2 shooters in New Jersey. State officials now say the deadly attack at the kosher grocery store was targeted, but they did not go as far as saying the motive was anti-Semitism. Stephen D'Souza has more from the scene.
Security camera footage shows the moment a van pulls up across from the JC Kosher supermarket. 2 suspects come out, guns drawn, opening fire at the store as pedestrians flee. Today, the small Jewish community in this area was left to pick up the pieces.
Good and kind people, and unfortunately, terror hit home in a very sad way.
It began yesterday when a police officer was killed at a cemetery after approaching a suspicious vehicle. Minutes later, the shooters arrived at the grocery store. Rabbi Moshe Shapiro says the store's owner narrowly missed the attack.
Miraculously, 2 minutes before the attack started, walked just 10 feet to the right where he walked into the synagogue, and he, thank God, survived, but unfortunately his wife and the other 2 civilians perished.
The 2 others were a store employee and customer. The suspects were killed by police. During the almost 3-hour shootout, a number of schools, including this one right across the street, were on lockdown, while just beside the grocery store, more than 60 children huddled inside the synagogue as they could hear the gunshots outside. Investigators found a pipe bomb at the scene, but they say it's too soon to call it an anti-Semitic attack.
Again, the why and the ideologies and the motivations That's what we're investigating, and we want to be thorough and we want to be accurate before we come back with more information.
The two dead shooters are 47-year-old David Anderson and 50-year-old Francine Graham, both suspects in the murder of an Uber driver over the weekend. There are reports Anderson may be connected to the Black Hebrew Israelite movement, a hate group which targets whites and Jews. Meanwhile, in the absence of a clear motivation, fear has set in here.
Because you don't know what's real and not real.
New Jersey's governor came to the site today to pray and offer support, but what people are looking for most are answers. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, Jersey City, New Jersey.
And an apparent act of racism is under scrutiny at Transport Canada. This one involving an email about travelers wearing turbans. It was shared in a department that manages Canada's no-fly list. As Ashley Burke reports in this CBC News exclusive, one former worker said she tried to blow the whistle but claims it was covered up for a decade.
It's depressing, and in the end, I couldn't stay.
Normally, sending an offensive email could cost you your job. But this former Transport Canada worker says it was receiving one and complaining that sank her career.
Your life is made a living hell in that context. You will be labeled as the difficult one. You will be labeled as the loudmouth. And eventually they'll make it so toxic for you that you have to leave.
This is the email sent in 2008. Renee Suderich says Superintendent Mark Haynes sent it to her and other colleagues, including managers. It read, they should play this non-stop at all airports, and included this spoof of a Frank Sinatra song that she calls racist.
Strangers on my flight, turbans they're packing, wondering if they might plan a hijacking.
Absolutely disgusted. The fact that he thinks it should be played in all airports is pretty indicative of his state of mind and the hate he harbors in his heart.
Their department makes sure airlines comply with Canada's no-fly list. For years, Suderich said she raised concerns to senior management, but claims no action was taken. Her lawyer says that signals a larger cultural problem.
To think that it was circulated amongst personnel at Transport Canada who are charged with some parts of Canadian security and border control, it's a real issue, and it would raise flags for anybody coming in who was a member of a minority or visible minority community.
A briefing note obtained by CBC News reveals Transport Canada didn't investigate until Amnesty International complained the email compromised the integrity of the no-fly list.
I think a 10-year delay is absolutely unacceptable.
Transport Canada won't release the findings of the investigation, citing privacy. In a statement, it said workers who received the email do not have influence over the no-fly list, adding discriminatory behaviors are not tolerated. The worker accused of sending the email declined a repeated request for an interview, but did confirm that he wasn't disciplined in any way. Haynes is still working for the federal government. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
To Washington, where another whistleblower is speaking out today on Capitol Hill. 8 months after the deadly Ethiopian Airlines crash, we are still learning new details about the Boeing 737 MAX 8 and the many warnings left ignored. Susan Ormiston explains.
Their photos haunt a hearing room. The lost, their families reminding U.S. legislators that 2 Boeing crashes were not random accidents, they were preventable.
I'm not going to sign off on this airplane until I fly it myself.
Sure, now, but why didn't the FAA ground the airline sooner? After Lion Air crashed, when its own internal review predicted the MAX could crash 15 times over its lifetime with no software changes. A stunning revelation, but the plane kept flying until the second crash.
Can either one of you admit to yourselves that the FAA made a mistake?
I would say that this is something that we need to look at very closely. And
was a mistake made?
Obviously, the result is not satisfactory.
Well, you just can't bring yourself to say that we made a mistake?
It's not like no one raised alarms. Ed Pearson did, then a senior manager at a Boeing factory deeply worried about production.
As I saw firsthand, the factory was stressed beyond anything in my experience.
A former Navy man, he warned Boeing back in July.
When I mentioned that I've seen operations in the military shut down for lesser safety concerns, I will never forget his response, which was, the military isn't a profit-making organization.
Hard to process every new neglected warning.
It's sad to hear over and over again what could have been done to prevent this.
I'm zigzagging and between, healing and despair.
For Chris Moore, the first Christmas without his daughter.
We would always open presents on Christmas, and Danielle's present was always the nicest because she put a lot of thought into the presents.
Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Washington.
Details are slowly emerging from yesterday's plane crash on Gabriola Island near Nanaimo, BC. Friends of the pilot have confirmed his identity to CBC. Alex Balson was flying his own twin-engine aircraft. He was an experienced pilot and flight instructor. A local fire official said 2 other people died, but the coroner's office has not confirmed that. At least 2 more people have died in hospital after Monday's volcano eruption in New Zealand, bringing the total number of victims now to 16. Recovery crews have not yet been able to get to the site itself, but as police release the names of some of those who died, loved ones are sharing details of their lives.
Just coming on Christmas, we're really going to miss him.
Gavin Dallow was traveling with his wife and her daughter. He is now confirmed killed. 15-year-old Zoe is listed as missing. Hers is one of 8 bodies not yet recovered from White Island. But tonight, officials announced a plan to start that recovery operation tomorrow. Julie Richards and her daughter Jessica were also killed there. A family friend describes them both as adventure seekers.
If there was an adventure that offered itself, then they would be the ones to do it.
Dallow's father, meanwhile, says his son wouldn't have gone near the volcano if he'd known the danger.
I'm quite sure of that. That's the only thing I can be really positive about.
Most of those who survived that eruption suffered serious burns and remain in hospitals across New Zealand and Australia. As Vicadopia explains, to survive and heal, they'll need extensive skin grafts, and that will be an international effort.
It was helicopter crews first on the scene that witnessed the human devastation of the volcanic blast.
It blew shirts off and clothing. People were very extensively burned, blisters. We were trying to transport them. The skin was coming off as we were holding people. It was very horrific.
New Zealand health officials say more than 20 people have severe burns, over as much as 90% of their bodies. Australian patients are starting to be transferred back home as New Zealand's medical teams are pushed to their limits.
The nature of the burns suffered is complicated by the gases and chemicals in the eruption.
The number of burn patients and the complexity of their care has resulted in an extraordinary request.
An additional 1.2 million square centimetres of skin for the ongoing needs of the patients. These supplies are coming from the United States.
That's about 10 times the amount of skin kept at Canada's largest human tissue bank at Toronto's Sunnybrook Hospital. Sections of skin like this, taken from deceased patients, will be used to cover burns only temporarily until unaffected skin can be surgically removed from the patient and grafted on.
So keep him overnight in the merge.
This burn surgeon says it's critical to cover open wounds with donor skin.
Really prevents you from losing fluids, electrolytes, or have risk of infection because the wound is not covered. So this is a tool to help patients to survive, particularly when you're big burn.
Recovery for the victims of the New Zealand volcano will take several months. Harvesting skin, grafting it onto burn wounds, and regrowing skin is an ongoing cycle, which requires painstaking surgery and time. Vicadopia, CBC News, Toronto.
It's the kind of mistake that's never supposed to happen. Children switched at birth, sent home with the wrong family. But it did happen to 2 men in Newfoundland, and it took them more than 50 years to discover the truth. Mark Quinn brings us this CBC exclusive.
It's definitely life-changing. It's a lot of sleepless nights.
I didn't want to know.
Craig Avery grew up surrounded by family. Uncles and aunts, 6 brothers and a sister.
There's me in my younger years, there's Clyde there.
Avery sees them all differently now. There's still nostalgia and love, but now there's pain, heartbreak, and even anger. because Avery has recently learned that he was switched at birth.
It's unbelievable that something like that could happen.
Avery was born on December 8, 1962 at the hospital in Come-by-Chance, Newfoundland, and so was Clarence Hines. Avery and Hines wound up working at the same construction site, and then Avery's wife, Tracy Avery, was also hired there too.
My first day there, I saw him, and I went to Craig right away.
The man Tracy Avery saw was Clarence Hines, and Avery was blown away by how much Hines looks like her husband's brother.
I've been told that before, that I look like the Averys back since '93, but he just brushed it off.
But Tracy Avery couldn't brush it off, especially when she learned Hines and Avery were born on the same day, the same year.
So right away, I'm like, where were you born? And he said, Come-by-Chance. I just thought that, something is not right.
Now she had more questions, and DNA testing provided the answers. Their lives were shaped by an error. They were sent home from the hospital with the wrong families.
Your heart is broken all the time. Deprived of our families for 56 years.
Their parents never learned about the switch. All four died before it was discovered.
What hurts a lot is knowing that your parents are gone to their grave and they have no idea, right? And they never will. And we never ever got to meet our parents.
It's not clear how the switch happened, but Avery and Hines are suing Eastern Health for damages.
It was just, to me, utter neglect.
The health authority says it empathizes with the men and their families, and it's reviewing their claims. And for now, the men are trying to focus on what they've gained.
I got two big families now, and hopefully one day it'll all be one big family.
Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
That's an incredible story. More news still ahead on The National, including racist comments hurled at a 16-year-old hockey player. Now he's getting some high-profile backup. And a new study suggests napping for too long may not be good for your health. Ugh. So what's the sweet spot? We'll find out in 2 minutes. In Cape Breton tonight, a young Indigenous hockey player who was subjected to racist taunts is getting support from the pros. And as Kayla Hounsell explains, his story has sparked a movement in Nova Scotia aimed at fighting racism in the sport.
Logan Prosper was seeing red after a recent hockey game. Now it's red tape that's inspiring him to fight racism. Rolls of it are flying off shelves across Nova Scotia.
A red tie, red ribbon, or red tape on your stick is going to signify that there is awareness of racism in hockey.
16-year-old Logan says a player from the opposing team taunted him on the ice during a game last weekend.
He told me, he's like, you look like a turd. You look like a turd. All natives look like turds. You shouldn't play hockey.
He says similar taunts continued from the other team's parents in the stands.
Words can't explain. So, I was so hurt.
I had tears coming down my eyes because I knew he was hurt. And to hear the comments on the stands was even worse.
Logan considered quitting, but has since been encouraged by an outpouring of support.
Gets his first NHL goal!
Prosper says it was former NHL player Akeem Aliou who inspired him to tell his story. Aliou spoke out about racism from former Calgary Flames coach Bill Peters. Aliou has now reached out to Logan. Former NHLer Cody McCormick also got in touch.
I just wanted to reach out, let you know that you're not the only First Nations player that's had to deal with something like that. Myself being a First Nation and playing hockey, I love the sport, but it definitely came with some of that.
Hockey Nova Scotia has launched an investigation and is looking at diversity in their league.
We want to have a better understanding of the needs of underrepresented communities, and we want them to feel safe.
Logan and his family say they aren't necessarily looking for disciplinary action. They just want racism in hockey to stop.
This is not just about being Native. This is about, everyone being the same, equal, all kinds of races.
And they hope Logan's story will help. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
Here are some of the other stories we are following tonight on The National.
It's a win for the consumers of New Brunswick to be able to have our own model or price on pollution.
Ottawa has approved New Brunswick's plan for a carbon tax, which will be introduced in April. The levy of $30 a ton is in line with Ottawa's demand, meaning the current federal tax or backstop will be lifted. Premier Blaine Higg's progressive Conservative government now becomes the first to sign on to the Trudeau climate plan after having opposed it.
This is designed to respond with facts to a campaign of misleading and dishonest propaganda.
The Alberta government officially launched its $30 million Canadian Energy Centre, also known as the Energy War Room. Some critics have called it a government propaganda effort. The Premier, though, says it will promote responsibly produced Canadian energy and fight against what he calls a smear campaign directed at Alberta oil. And police in Ontario say one person was killed and several others were injured following a multi-vehicle pileup south of Ottawa today. Stretches of a snowy Highway 401 were closed after an estimated 25 vehicles were involved in a series of collisions. Officials are warning drivers to slow down during poor weather conditions. Coming up on The National, a look at the health benefits of napping. This is a lesson I know well, and why some companies are encouraging you to doze at your desk. I don't do that. Not enough time for a nap, but we'll be back in 2. A midday nap may feel indulgent, but it can do wonders for the body, mind, and productivity. That's why more and more businesses and even universities are investing in sleep spaces. But as Cass Rusey explains, too much of a good thing can come at a cost.
Slippers are the first sign. Let's go in and see. That we're about to enter a cozy space.
You've replicated a cave. In a sense, yes.
The floors and walls are lined with soft felts that help dampen the noise. Resting areas provide comfort and relaxation.
I think everyone should try this.
This art installation at the University of Toronto is all about the nap. Once frowned upon, napping is not only encouraged here, but celebrated.
We thought, what better place to stage an experiment in slowing down during the day than in a school of architecture.
Summer is the curator of the exhibition, which is here until the spring.
Our students have become more stressed out and have had increasing levels of anxiety in recent years because of our kind of plugged-in life.
We work pretty long hours, and it's really nice to kind of in the middle of the day just take a little bit of a break.
In a sleep-deprived world, catching a few Z's does have its benefits. Research shows it can do everything from boosting your immune system to improving alertness. The latest study involving Swiss adults aged 35 to 75 also found that a daytime nap taken once or twice a week could lower the risk of heart attacks or strokes.
Sleep is by the brain, for the brain, and for the body.
In a 24-hour work cycle where employees are often expected to work long hours, many companies have created nap-friendly spaces.
Companies would realize that an attentive, alert worker is going to do a better job.
This is our premium bed.
Mezabine Rahman used to work in a job that came with long hours. She and her colleagues were often exhausted.
And I would be like, oh my God, I wish there was something where I could go and sleep even for 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
So she created a nap studio in Toronto where $10 gets you 40 winks.
Right now, it's all the white-collar employees. They're the one who needs the nap in between because they're probably working on computers or like doing paperwork, so their eyes, they need to rest.
Researchers are still divided over how long a nap should last. A new study released today warned that people napping for more than 90 minutes were 25% more likely to have a stroke. Experts say if you need to doze during the day, keep it short. Not more than 20 minutes. Cass Rusey, CBC News, Toronto.
Up next, we're back from London with more coverage of the UK election. How old foes are uniting to try to take down Boris Johnson. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Harvey Weinstein has reportedly reached a settlement with dozens of women who accused him of sexual misconduct. The New York Times is reporting that the deal is worth $25 million and would end nearly all civil suits against the former Hollywood producer. Weinstein wouldn't have to admit wrongdoing or pay the women directly. The money would come from insurers of his bankrupt film studio. Weinstein is still facing criminal charges in New York. He appeared in court today using a walker for back pain. That trial is set for January 6th.
Surely, under the circumstances, genocidal intent cannot be the only hypothesis.
That's Myanmar's leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, speaking at the UN's top court today. Her country is facing a lawsuit alleging it committed genocide against the Rohingya. More than 700,000 members of the Muslim minority have fled since 2017, when the military launched a crackdown. Suu Kyi called the case against Myanmar incomplete and misleading. And Israel is set to hold its third general election in less than a year. Lawmakers voted overwhelmingly in favor of a motion which will dissolve parliament. Since the election in September, neither Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu nor his main rival, Benny Gantz, have been able to build a governing coalition. The two leaders were also unable to agree on a power-sharing arrangement. Voters will once again head to the polls on March 2nd.
Hello again from London ahead of tomorrow's pivotal British elections. Now, if it's a close vote, Boris Johnson needs to worry about Northern Ireland, where he has enraged the very people he needs, Northern Irish MPs who helped prop up the previous Tory government. People there are now so mad that old foes are working together, ganging up against Boris Johnson's Brexit plan. Well, this is miserable. Is it any wonder no UK government has subjected its people to a December election in nearly 100 years? Desperate measure then, and certainly now.
Nobody in.
And to be campaigning in Northern Ireland now
Just out for the election.
is to face more than the foes of foul weather and a fed-up electorate.
Okay, good to see you. Bye-bye.
If you're a sitting MP from the party that supported Brexit, like Emma Little-Pengelly, you're facing a wall of opposition like never before.
In this election, people are saying, let's get together and vote tactically to try to stop Brexit, despite the fact that the United Kingdom, in a referendum and a people's vote, voted to leave.
Northern Ireland didn't vote to leave, largely content being part of the UK and seamlessly connected to Ireland, which is in the EU. An ease some suspect ends with Boris Johnson's plan. Get ready for some complicated language from him.
Goods going from NIGB, GBNI will have no checks. The only checks will be for goods that are going via NI into Ireland. Everybody understands that.
Unlikely everyone understands that, but in Northern Ireland, people cut right through the clumsy language, realized he was talking about a border, and here, that gets you accused of betrayal. They're so angry, anti-Brexit parties are now working together, candidates stepping down to make room for others with better chances of winning. Anything to stop Brexit.
Sinn Féin equally will not contest East Belfast, North Down or South Belfast.
Here, sucky. Why worried enough for candidates to step down? Consider the cows.
Come on, sucky.
Gary McHenry and Charlie Weir, both dairy farmers, both flat out fearful of a Boris Johnson-designed Brexit.
Boris Johnson's as shifty as the Sahara sands.
Already they get less per litre of milk because of the uncertainty. Tariffs to sell to the EU could be punishing. And what if they can't find other markets? Charlie says some talk of killing the cows.
I know people think that we're exaggerating or making no, but it's not. That's a reality that could happen.
You'd have to shoot your cows?
Well, if you can't sell your product, if you're getting no return for your produce.
He voted to leave the EU in the referendum. Last election, he was so supportive of the DUP, which backed Brexit, he was in their ads.
My name is Charlie Weir, and on the 8th of June, I'll be voting for the DUP.
That was before the prospect of a border was raised. He's changed his mind and vote. Not easy.
Not many men will stand up in front of the media and say, I got it wrong. And for me, Charlie, not just a big man in size, but as a man amongst men for standing up to do that.
Disagreeing politically was a deadly affair not that long ago. Those cages outside a Belfast bar, a reminder of the era when they had to keep attackers out. Inside, anti-Brexit activists too young to remember the Troubles, but worried Boris Johnson's plan could foment frustrations. They are all in on the idea of these strategic alliances to stop Brexit.
There's parties that you would never see working together are actually coming together to stop that deal, which is just, it's so bizarre to see. I actually couldn't believe when it happened.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Old rivals now rethinking new relationships. Once again, Brexit is breaking all the rules. Boris Johnson clearly has his supporters as well. People who, like him, are convinced Brexit is key to restoring lost glory. Margaret Evans went to a community with fond memories of Britain's former industrial might, where the locals cannot wait to bid the EU goodbye.
The old seawall in Hartlepool. Battered by the waves, just like the town it protects along England's eastern coastline, feels battered by the march of time. A place where in winter, the middle of the day can feel just like the end of it. Somewhere on the other side of the swells lies Denmark and the rest of the continent, unseen and receding ever further in the minds of the men who fish here.
I feel angry at the EU, the people that are running it and telling us what we have to do. And most of it is to suit them.
Nearly 70% of people here voted to leave the European Union back in 2016. For many, the fact that Britain still hasn't left is a slap. And they want this election to correct it. For Ronnie Horn, that means backing Boris Johnson.
I don't really want to vote for Conservative, but there's no way on this earth I'll vote for Labour.
Labour candidate Mike Hill is knocking on doors in a riding they've held for over half a century, behind the so-called Red Wall, working-class Labour heartland.
Well, consider it then, because I always speak up for the people of the town.
He should feel safe, but the relationship has frayed over Brexit.
It's a yes.
And pro-Leave parties see his seat as vulnerable.
Hi, Nicola, nice to meet you.
Because of Labour's pledge to put a new Brexit deal to another referendum.
We understand that the people are frustrated about Brexit, but they've also got to remember that Hartlepool is in the situation it's in because of 10 years of Conservative Party austerity measures. We've been battered.
Hartlepool's industrial landscape is said to have inspired the opening of the 1980s sci-fi film Blade Runner, set in a futuristic 2019. In the real 2019, Hartlepool is coping with decades of decline, the highest unemployment rate in the country, a place where people feel left behind.
3 and 6, 36. 5 and 3, 53.
Preparing for battle.
8 and 4, 84.
Bingo night at a local social club.
8 and 9, 89.
Time for old friends to reminisce.
The mines, they've all closed down. And what else did we used to have here? Oh, we used to have a matchbox factory, a tin factory.
Many in town blame the EU's state aid policies for the loss of the steel industry. Pat Abbey wants out.
We're paying the most money in and getting nothing out of it.
Outlier Rita Kelly says people don't know enough about what Brexit will mean, but she still wants the referendum result honoured.
We are a democracy and you have to respect that. But having said that, it's best of a bad job.
This port was redeveloped into the marina it is today, in part with European funding. And in recent years, the Northeast has received twice as much EU funding as other parts of England. But few seem to know it or feel it.
Full house.
Sasha Bedding manages a charity called The Annex in one of Hartlepool's poorest neighbourhoods.
I think it's more than just a very simple, they don't like the EU. It's more complicated than that. I just think they felt ignored and they had a chance to actually put a marker in the ground and say, actually, I don't want to be ignored anymore.
No man is an island, or so the poem goes. But if ever there were a place that felt unmoored, it is Hartlepool, not just from Europe, but from its own government in Westminster. Margaret Evans, CBC News, Hartlepool.
And be sure to tune into the National tomorrow night for our special coverage of this crucial election. We will have results and analysis. We'll be on standby for surprises as Britain makes one of its most consequential choices in years. We'll see you then.
All right, Adrian, can't wait. When we come back, the King of the North, sort of, returns to his old court. Kawhi Leonard gets a warm welcome. How he's thanking his old fans, that story next.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's Daily News podcast Front Burner, as NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman says abusive behavior in the league will not be tolerated, we talk about the darker side of hockey culture with two former pro players. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Kawhi Leonard was a hero in Toronto, in all of Canada really, helping the Raptors score their first championship. And even though he left to join his hometown Los Angeles Clippers, there isn't any lingering resentment. Greg Ross now on Leonard's big return.
Welcome back, Kawhi! A standing ovation from the capacity crowd. Congratulations from his former teammates. And then Kawhi Leonard received his championship ring from Kyle Lowry. Congratulations, Kawhi! The North thanks you! Here's Kawhi. A warm reception for the man who led the Raptors to their first championship in franchise history and then left for his hometown of Los Angeles. Kawhi, that good! But he said he'll never forget how special fans are in Toronto.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they were amazing last year. You know, they rode with us through the ups and downs.
To show his appreciation, Leonard putting up this massive billboard in downtown Toronto, thanking the city. You guys literally just walked out of the office with no jackets so you could see that.
Exactly.
Yep, that's exactly right. Well, you tell me, why is that so important?
Well, he came, gave us everything that we've always wanted, which is a championship, and he delivered, and he went home.
Those fans love him for moments like this.
For the win!
And of course, this.
Canada, the NBA title is yours!
Memories, Leonard says, came flooding back for him today.
It's my first time back in the city since the parade. Obviously, those flashbacks come back, driving over to the arena.
It's those moments that have made his name synonymous with the long-term legacy of the franchise and the country.
Kawhi didn't start the basketball boom in Canada. That's been building for decades, but he really has amplified it and taken it to a different level.
This was Leonard's one and only game in Toronto in the regular season. The only way he could possibly return would be if the Raptors were to face the Clippers in the NBA Finals. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
Just ahead, hard work pays off for one family, getting a new home just in time for the holidays. The moment they got their keys is our moment tonight. That's next.
One modern family travels back in time to experience 6 decades of winter for some good, cold-fashioned fun. So travel through time with the fashion, food, and family fun. Back in time for winter. New season, January on CBC and CBC Gem.
12 families were given keys to new homes in Toronto today by Habitat for Humanity. But for one family, it was more than a roof over their heads. It was really inspiration for the future. For one young man, volunteering on the project gave him a purpose in life and a new career path. This family's momentous day is our moment of the day.
We're actually receiving our keys today, so we're very excited.
I don't even know how I feel right now.
He had to do community hours for school, and so I thought, okay, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We can get hours for our down payment, and also he can get his hours for school. He knew that he wanted something that would keep him busy and keep him moving, and this was the first time I actually seen him be like, yeah, I want to do that. For the first time in his high school career, my son has a direction and purpose. Thank you to everyone that inspired and created that spark. That's yours. You like it, eh? Good night. Good night. Very happy I'm home.
So Habitat for Humanity, in order to get the house, you have to contribute to building the house. And Zavon there, the young man you saw there, did it towards his volunteer credits for high school, but he's also fell in love with it and is now working towards an apprenticeship. So gets a home, gets him on the path for a career. That's a pretty good ending. And that is The National for Wednesday, December 11th. Thanks for watching. Good night.